Welcome to another episode of VNN. My name is Ancient Angel. Here with me is Nerds Cast and Zero Fight.
I can't figure it out.
It's episode 2, week number 2. I don't know, it's something like that. You guys can figure it out. And by you guys, I mean probably our editor and producer behind the scenes who's gonna yell at us.
Hey, shout out. We got 8 viewers, you know?
That's true.
We got fans. We got fans out here.
Big ups.
We have viewers?
Big ups to the viewers and fans. We are being watched. That is typically how recordings work. We have quite a bit to get into as my face turns blue from our little news sheet that we have. We've quite a bit to get into today. And a big part of that is some drama that we will talk about later. But first, we've got a nice little community highlight. And because you know what? Valorant isn't what Valorant is, and the Valorant community isn't what it is today without all of the wonderful content creators and streamers and pro players that go on and play ranked and get tilted at Roompa TV and all of the loveliness. So to talk about that and some of the events that content creators themselves are hosting, we have the FraustoML Creator Cup. Core Frausto just finished up the second split of his Creator Cup for 2025, and that was quite cool to watch and see. I think it was the BCJ team win.
Yeah, Outlaws.
That was pretty cool. So to be able to see that, and then also there's another Creator Cup coming up. Well, it's not the Creator Cup. It is different. It's the Milk Tea Boards Invitational. I think it's. Let me get this correct. The Milk Tea Boards Invitational All-Stars. So a bunch of all-stars from previous Milk Tea Boards Invitationals are coming back, and you're going to see a bunch of really cool people playing Valorant, regardless of the rank. Every time there's an MTB, it's very, very fun. The vibes are always good. I may or may not be hyping this up because I'm casting it. You should watch it.
I have to throw the self-plug in there.
And you should
The self-plug is crazy.
It is. And you should also, if you did miss the Frausto Creator Cup, the second split, you should go on to Frausto's Twitter. And also, does the Creator Cup? Yeah, the Creator Cup does have its own Twitter. So you should go there and you should go. You should go check out all of those tweets and all of the clips because it was a pretty cool, pretty fun event. So, all in all, I think this is going to be a very milquetoast take. I think it's good when content creators do content creator things and make good clips about the game.
That's honestly, I think, is that the controversy that we're going to be discussing today?
Yeah.
I think so.
That's the TO controversy.
Is that it's good for content to be put out there for Valorant.
Can I have a milquetoast take? Not a milquetoast take. Can I just throw out a take out there?
Yeah.
I think it's good to be alive. Okay, anyway.
Round of applause.
Yeah.
All right, but regardless, there's one thing I want to kind of interject, and I don't know where to interject it. But we're recording this on like the 1-year anniversary of Clove being in the game. So talking about content, there's been some pretty interesting content around Clove and a lot of all that shenanigans. So fun little fact of the day before I throw it over to Zero.
I didn't even know that.
Shout out the most fun agent, but also, God, pray for my ranked games.
We all will.
Reyna's back. Clove too.
ISO.
Yeah, it's unlucky. But you know what's not going to be unlucky? The winner of the YFP Lockdown number 5. It should be happening this weekend. It honestly might have been completed by the time this episode's coming out. It'll be taking place from the March 28th to March 30th. It's up to 64 teams, I believe, with pricing scaling all the way up to $2,000. This is the number 5th one. So, I mean, a lot of hype for it. I think, the last winner of it, I believe, was Landor. So a team that we kind of saw at the Momentum, Mr. Funhaver's land just the other week, do pretty well. So we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on them. But yeah, I'm super excited to see how this kind of goes down. It is a single elimination bracket, so a little bit more up in the air than something like that double elim, but I still think it's really sick to see these type of tournaments come up, even if it's just for weekends. It gets tier 2, tier 3 players a chance to show themselves and maybe attract some scouts. We'll have to see.
I mean, honestly, I think it's really good that we have stuff like that. Use variety within the tier 3, tier 2 space. So, because you said this was the 5th one. I'm looking at VLR. There's the first one was 2K, 1.2K prize, 1.2K prize. Fourth one was 1.6K. So starting to like go up. The first one obviously being 2K makes sense. Just talk about prize pool stuff. It's scaling. So the more teams that are getting into it, the more money they can output. So it's good. Like it's a self-fulfilling thing where it's like we get more teams, we get more prize pool, more teams, and it builds upon itself.
Yeah, and that's the other thing as well that I think is so important is the fact that the big thing right now, and this is the credit I want to give to YFP, is YFP, when you're talking about a lot of the TOs in the tier 3 scene, YFP is like the most recent one. So the fact that they're continuing to just put tournaments out there, even if they're not getting to like 64 entrants, right? The fact that they're just continuing to do tournaments, I think, is alone great. And I also think that we're going to get to it a bit later, but I think that like the way that they choose to run things is like perfectly acceptable, and I don't think YFP has done anything at all to deserve any criticism. I think what they're doing is great. So
Been very impressed with it. Been very impressed with it. Funny enough, a lot of people who play in the YFP lockdown arena also play in, just a casual, NA Challengers League, VCL, very casually, which just concluded with Shopify Rebellion Black winning it. Now, here's the thing. My money was on, I think it was also on SRB. Like, I knew when I looked at the matchup, it was SRB versus M80. It came purely off statistics. M80 was playing with Weeded for a little bit. I believe Sato is the name of the person that stepped in. Yeah. Hey, Challengers commentator here, gloating about. Regardless. Whoa. But jokes aside, I was looking at it because I remember M80. I'm pretty sure I commented an M80 game when they had Weeded, and Weeded was great. Weeded's great, but Sato kind of came in a weird spot when they were getting into playoffs. So M80 is not in its true form, and I'm kind of an M80 like enjoyer. So I have a feeling M80 is going to do better slowly over time. But I still want Shopify Rebellion to win everything, just because they have, if I'm not mistaken, I think Vapin's their help. Yeah. Vapin, Eric, met him at SG LAN years ago, was friends with friends. So I'm kind of supporting them off that. BCJ is also great. The Broctagon's great. But yeah, that's kind of who won it. And we're going to be doing what's called. Next on the docket is promotion relegation for what's called this current split 1. And the teams are a bit unfortunate. I say it's a bit unfortunate because Shopify Rebellion Gold is there. So one Shopify Rebellion team is currently winning. That's the men's roster. And the other one is unfortunately in relegation, which is the female non-binary roster. Or in this case, I believe it's all female roster is in relegation. They're going up against the, I don't want to say that name. Wow. That is a name that's a...
Wait, let me go find it before we get...
Nonverbal?
Is that... Wait.
That's
not North America. That's North LATAM.
No, that is...
What? Are you talking about...
It is not... It's nonverbal. That's kind of a messed up name. I'll call it out. And then Ambrosia and Maryville GG. Ambrosia, who was at the top of the... What's it called? Little round robin of the bottom 3 teams. Hakikamori went out 0-2, whereas Ambrosia went 2-0, and Shopify Rebellion Gold went 1-1. So Shopify Rebellion's not out just yet. Shopify Rebellion Gold, the female team's not out yet. They're going to be going up against Nonverbal. Ambrosia and Maryville are going to go up against each other, and the 2 teams that win out are going to qualify. The reason I'm surprised it says Nonverbal is because that's a weird name. But also, I'm pretty sure that's the same team that Shopify Rebellion Gold played against to get into and qualify for VCL in the first place. I dropped my fork. But regardless, I guess we'll just hit to predictions. I'm shocked that that's a team name that's allowed.
Yeah, it's not.
I think it's mildly funny, but it's also like...
I think it's... I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the name. Also, because I remember talking to Corrupt when I saw them in Miami, and I think we had made a joke. Like, it was like very brief, but we had made a joke about going nonverbal at the function. So I'm totally fine with
Oh,
I'm totally fine with this name. I think this is like a really funny name. And
I think it's
uh
my biggest concern with it is the fact that I'm pretty sure it's the Fun Havers,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's the same team.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
just-
okay, okay.
I think it's just the premier name technically.
Yes.
Oh,
It's just,
yeah.
Funhavers is what they go by in most of their like tournaments that I
broadcasting
play
stuff,
in
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, but it's I guess it's just that, and so
Okay, that makes sense
because
then. Never
it's
mind.
just for
Yep.
clarity's sake, I think on VLR.
But do we want to do a quick little round of pick'ems? We want to start with the Ambrosia Maryville game and just say
I'll say my last because I kind of brought this up, and I already know what mine are.
okay.
Actually, wait. What if we did something fun?
Okay.
Let's do this. Write down your predictions for both games. And then we'll reveal them one by one.
What's
To
a
make sure you can cover it
five-backer?
up, like, to make sure you can like cover it up. You know what I mean?
It's prediction time.
Are we doing both or one at a time?
I think we do one at a time. So does everyone
Yeah.
have just the Ambrosia Maryville?
I do. It's at the top.
Okay.
Ready? Are you guys ready?
Yes. 3, 2, 1. Ambrosia.
Oh,
Wait,
damn! You wrote
is
the
it-
score
is
too.
it a best of 5?
Is it a best of 5?
Oh,
It
it's a
is
best of 5. Oh, it's a best of 5. I
It
did not
is.
know that.
Dude, and
Oh my god, it is a best of 5.
That's a
I don't
full
know.
best of 5.
I want
Nah,
Maryville.
you know what? Preds are still the same. Mine are all soul reads anyway.
I want them to get through here, but man, they've choked before, and after what
No
I witnessed today
way.
with Ambrosia, dude, they were pretty dominant. It was
Mhm.
what? Wasn't it a 13-0 into like
Yeah.
13?
Yeah.
Was it 4 or something? Yeah.
But you're
13-4,
not you
so
listen.
looking
Ukrainian goat
nice.
wildfire is just gonna go in
My-
and fire all over
I'm
them.
hoping.
I
I'm
can't
hoping.
lie. I can't lie, right? I feel this is like my this is like a, you know, the image, this is gonna be a random reference. You know the image of like the crying fox child? And then the meme of like the furry fox kid who's like crying in fetal position, and then there's like a shadow of his two
Oh,
parents
yeah.
fighting. Like that
Yes,
meme.
yes, yes.
That's me with Ambrosia Maryville. Because I'm a really big Satellite fan. Like, actually.
Oh my god, I
I
had to go
love
look this
Satellite.
up. I had to go look this up.
I love Satellite. If we get a picture of that, if this makes the final cut, can we get a picture of that?
I'm just
people
gonna
to
put
show
it
what
in.
talking
I'm
about?
just putting it in staff chat. Hey, I found a know your meme link.
Yes. So
Oh.
I'm like the biggest fan of Satellite in the world, but also I'm friends with Wildfire. I know the Maryville guys. So like
That's
I'm gonna
crazy.
be really happy for whoever wins and really sad for whoever loses. So that's gonna be like such a fun game to watch. I have Maryville. I do actually agree though. I think that this is like, actually, I think Maryville's the underdog in this solely because this is online.
Yes, Maryville's very better in person.
They are in person. Maryville's actually like a top like 6 to 8 team in challengers. Online, they're in promo rally.
I believe MCE just needs to breathe a little life
Anyway.
into them. Throw them a banana.
MCE is
They're
the
chilling.
lifeblood of
Chilling.
Valorant. If MCE
What a
chooses-
statement. What a statement.
That's
All
actually
right.
true though.
Do we have the SRG and nonverbal play?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, who's got it? You guys ready?
Yeah.
We going? We going?
Boom.
We going.
Oh
SRG.
my God.
Ooh.
SRG, SRG.
I'm picking nonverbal. I feel
Really?
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. Here's the thing.
It's-
I think SRG is going to lose, but I don't
And
want
you
them
predded
to.
them?
So you predded them despite the fact that you think they're gonna lose.
I hope that I say that they're gonna lose and they win. I'm like, no, this is. I want them to win because it's like low key. They're the first GC team, and the story is ripe. But at the same time, I think that MFH nonverbal, like, they like counter stratted them. Like they've got to be like have been watching it, and then I'm pretty sure SRG played in Game Changers, so like this is a pick more for like the soul. I was just sorry to go to self-insert, but me and Zobi were the two casters, the two non-binary casters casting the first Game Changers team getting into VCL. So it does hold a special place in history and in my heart. So that's why I want to watch Party, because I think they should. I think they can, but they've just been struggling right now. And then you have Funhavers, which is a great roster, and they probably should have already been in VCL. And honestly, I think if they were in VCL, they wouldn't even be in relegation. And it's just the reality of they're probably going to lose. But SRG for the win! SRG for the win! SRG! My roommates think I'm crazy, but
They do. I
can
think
admit it by the end of the night.
I think that what you were saying about like Funhavers should have been in already. I kind of agree with that. When you talk about the uh close qualifier match, that's the word I was thinking of. When you talk about
Yep.
the close qualifier match between Funhaver and Shopify, it was this game where everyone kind of looked at it and went, "Yeah, Funhaver should have won that game, but they choked it. Like they choked map 1." And so Shopify ended
it
up
should have been
winning
a
that series
2-1.
2-0. And I think that when you're talking about map pool, I think Funhaver's map pool is, or Nonverbal's map pool, either way, it's a little deeper than SRG's. I think SRG, you really have to rely on not only a good performance from Dodo, but also good performances out of at least 2 other people. Like
Oh
typically comes to
yeah.
mind is Noya and Sarah. And when I say good performances, I don't mean like good in Valorant terms. I mean like good, like they're excelling beyond what you're expecting from like normal Valorant terms. And if it's not Noya or Sarah, it would have to be Mel. So I think that there's like too much on the line in terms of like the win condition for SRG, if that makes sense. I think that Funhavers overall, Corrupt is the most slept on IGL worldwide.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Worldwide, Corrupt is the most slept on IGL. Blast can drop 40 at any given moment. I think is Muddy new to this roster? Or is that just a name change? I'm trying to remember. I'm looking back. No, Muddy is new to this roster because
Money is new. Also, they're my favorite player because I just looked up their name and it's Mudkip Valorant, and they're my favorite player now.
There you go. And see, that's
They're
why
just they are now my favorite player.
Yeah, so that's right, because Muddy was on Green Grapes. So Muddy coming into this roster, I think, should help with some of the like consistency issues.
Yeah, and to be honest, like I do think SR is probably the underdog coming into this. I mean, like you said last time, barely scraped out the win, and in my reality, they're gonna do it again. They could choke, and that is something I'm afraid of. And that's not even necessarily choking, but I think you pointed out the map pool kind of got hard exposed. They have a lot more VODs out there regarding their entire map pool. So if Funhavers wants to put in the work, they can. And I mean, I imagine they will. I mean, this is one of the most important matches that they've played in a long, long while. And while I do think I think the comps, I think Noya gonna go off, Sarahcat gonna go crazy, GC Deagle gonna come into effect, but I wouldn't be surprised if this goes either way. That's why it's going all 5 maps. It's gonna be a giga banger.
I was gonna say, other than just the GC stuff, they also participated in Momentum LCQ and Mad Science.
Yeah, so been all the way around the globe with their performances. So
Are you talking about Shopify Gold?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing also about the map pool that I want to bring up is that MFH and especially that roster, because they play a lot, because MFH, right? The Funhaver series, literally the namesake of the team, they play a lot in the Funhavers, so they're very used to teams kind of already having tape on them, so they keep like doing that. Effie's is an amazing coach. I don't want to say anything against that. This is not at all about that. It's more on the fact that like I think they're used to being like MFH is used to having a lot of tape out on them. I'm not sure how much Shopify Rebellion Gold is going to be able to do that. I think they're still gonna be good, but
I was gonna say,
regardless,
I actually think the FE's coach is a very big credit to Shopify. I am a very big proponent that FE's is the goat.
just the goat.
Yeah, the goat.
Goat status. Literally.
So shout outs to FE, man.
Look,
I do want to pivot because we've gone through
Okay.
challengers, promotion, relegation. Mind you guys, we're recording this on the 26th of March.
yes. So
by
promo
the
relegation
time-
tomorrow.
I was gonna say, so by the time this airs, these matches will have already happened. So we're probably saying all this, and I mean, guaranteed, at least one of us is gonna be wrong for every match.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's the best part.
Yeah, we'll keep a score.
No
it's-
guarantees.
I think, was I the only person that predicted differently? Did both of you guys predict?
No, I put Maryville. You put Maryville. I think Zero put Ambrosia, right? 3-1.
Yeah, I put.
And then I put SRG because
And then I put nonverbal.
in my heart,
And then
bro.
we both put SRG. Okay,
Yeah.
so pick'ems are done. Someone's gonna be wrong. We're all gonna laugh about it on Twitter. Speaking of laughing about it on Twitter.
No, not
Drama.
speaking about it. Not speaking about it. Looking ahead at stage
Drama.
2. Oh no. I hate drama. I'm a notorious. So here's the thing. I'm notorious for like drama. Kyrie? What is it? Plie? I'm out. I don't like drama. All right, let's pivot to the drama.
We're gonna talk about the drama. I know it's dreaded. Everyone hates it.
Some people love it.
That's true. There are definitely some people on Twitter that I have seen in drama many a time. And when I say drama, I don't mean defending themselves. I mean just provoking. So, for those unaware, there was a recent tweet by friend of the show, Chris26, regarding VLR coverage for a lot of North America Tier 3 events. And I guess on a larger scale, Tier 3 events in general. And this comes off of, and I'm going to kind of be clear that, like, my stance on the situation is there's no one party that's bad. I think it's just that because it's Tier 3 and not everyone's on the same page, because everyone's on different pages, it just doesn't function sometimes, and this is just one of those moments. There's a very big kind of note within the TO scene that if you want actual teams to come play your event, you need to be on VLR. But in order to be on VLR, you need teams to come and actually play your event. And so this is where the whole catch-22 of it arises. So VLR on a case-by-case basis will just review a tournament and decide whether or not it can be covered on VLR, even if it meets the like numbered requirements that they have listed on like I think it's on one of their like forums. They posted like, here's the requirements to be put on VLR or have an event put on VLR, and even if you meet that, they can still case-by-case review it and say, we're not going to put it on VLR. So that was essentially where the drama started. Chris made a tweet and threw some shade at some of the TOs that do have their events on VLR. And so then you had this whole back and forth, and it's I actually don't know what to say more than that. I don't know if anyone else has.
I'm just looking at all this drama while listening to you like it's a podcast, because it's literally a podcast.
Yeah.
I stay out of drama because I hate it.
Yeah.
This because 99% of drama is just miscommunication. Or just to some degree, it's usually just miscommunication of some kind. So it just doesn't make sense to me as an outsider looking in on this, why people are getting frustrated over this. Because in my mind, people can have an opinion and you can disagree with that opinion and be like, cool, and just move on. But I also can get this flip side of it of like, you kind of want to have a conversation about it so then it can develop the scene. Regardless of all that stuff, I don't know what to say either. Zero, you got anything to throw into this?
I mean, I do think so. A lot of where I think the defensiveness from like Tim, Mr. Funhaver was coming in probably was due to the initial statements. From Chris, the grassroots TO scene for Valorant in 2025 is truly dead, in my opinion. It has been monopolized as we reward the same tournament to be run with minimal changes and gate kept to keep competition minimal. Which I, to be honest, don't know how fair that is to like just in general. I think there is a lot of good that has been done from like Mr. Funhavers, the YFP lockdowns and stuff like that. Because I mean, once NSG fell through, there really wasn't much to back it up. I mean, this has been the lifeblood of the tier 3 scene for a while. And I mean, not only did it like adopt the same formats when NSG went away, but it's also has a lot of reputable names behind it, and it has like prize pools that come along with it that lead into those bigger events, like the LAN that we saw just 2 weeks ago. So cool stuff like that. Even though it's tier 3, I would say it is elevated and it's gotten a name for itself. So it makes sense why some of these events are prioritized over some stuff that doesn't have as reputable of a name. And also VLR is, I mean, mostly a volunteer platform for a lot of the people like inputting the matches. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but if they're, I mean, there's only so many people that are going around. So I mean, I know their AdSense isn't crazy.
I don't think people are getting paid a lot, like for the people that do work at VLR. I don't think of VLR as volunteer. Because if it was volunteer, then anyone would be able to get their stuff covered, like it was Liquipedia.
Yeah, like on Liquipedia.
So
also, speaking of Wikipedia, as a contrast, that's the one thing that I think is weird reading all this stuff is that, I actually agree entirely. I think the Funhaver stuff, I don't know. I don't think it should have been bashed in Funhaver at all. Because without that type of stuff, without that, we wouldn't be able to develop the scene. Period. But speaking of Wikipedia, I think it's just a matter of like, maybe it comes off as biased because Funhaver has done such a good job, rather than, and then people need to realize that because Funhaver has done such a good job of making this super competitive and building it, it is just it's like a, like we said, it's a little bit above it. A lot of tier 2 teams and specifically VCL teams will pug and play in the Funhavers, like SRG, for example, or like literally Nonverbal Funhavers, or Ambrosia, or all of these like, Burger Boys, right? Like, so it is that level of like, they did do a good job of making a tournament, the Funhaver team and Funhaver himself specifically. So I want to give credit to that. On the flip side, I think this could all be solved if you just have the criteria public, right? Like Liquipedia has the criteria public. You can just to like, because it's a perceived bias. What it is it's a pseudo conflict with a perceived bias, to get like super technical about it. But we perceive a bias because there's certain criteria that need to be met, but we don't know the criteria. Right. So if they just said, hey, you need to have a certain amount of teams that meet a specific rank, or a certain amount of teams that have VLR pages already. And then once you have like a percentage over, or you need a certain percentage of prize pool. Once you have that, then you can be listed on VLR within a certain time frame. And we do have like the quote unquote the right to refuse like whatever, if it is like a, or whatever clauses they want to add in there. But as long as they have that sort of public, people can at least build tournaments around that, and then be like, hey VLR, this is what it is. And then if the tournament is denied, then it's like, okay, well, we met all your criteria. What is the problem? Because I highly doubt that the problem is what we think it is, in my opinion.
I like, from my understanding, because I've spoken to a lot of TOs, right? And then that's not just like, I've had conversations to TOs about TOs when it comes to VLR, when it comes to back when Rib was a thing, which is something I'm gonna kind of soapbox about in a second.
Oh Lord.
But like, VLR has always been a mystery, where, and this is something that I will give criticism to VLR for. Just be more transparent, right? If you're not gonna cover an event and the TO is reaching out and being like, hey, I haven't heard anything back. I understand you being like, yeah, we're not going to cover this event. But if you can say why, so that way you can give these TOs some sort of feedback as to what they should be looking for when it comes to things that they should improve to improve their chances at eligibility to be covered on VLR. Like, you are in a position as VLR at right now being the driving force of tier 3. And I'm not going to sit here and say that that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's the truth, right?
Yeah.
Players are so obsessed with their VLR stats because that's the first thing that tier 2 teams will look at when it comes to picking up, which, by the way, it isn't the first thing that tier 2 teams look at. The first thing that tier 2 teams will look at is your vouchers and your recommendations. But you're like, players are obsessed with this idea of their VLR stats, and so if your event is not on VLR, players don't care unless the prize pool is massive. And that's actually
Which
why I want to
doesn't
give
really happen.
Yeah, it's why I want to give credit to YFP, because the reason people will go to YFP tournaments even before it was confirmed they would be on VLR is because of the fact that they fronted the money. Like, there was proof that the money existed up front, which is huge. So
Talk about NSG.
oops.
Talk
So,
about that's old controversy though.
yeah. But regarding VLR, so if you're VLR, just say why you're not going to cover an event. If it's because there's not enough prize pool, say that. If it's because there's not enough notable teams, then say that and define what notable teams are. Does it mean you have to be top 100 in a region? Does it mean you have to be top 50?
Honestly, you can include clauses like, we would like how do I phrase this? Where it's like, we, the right to refuse service, or the right to like refuse to do it, in a sense of like, if someone's being super, no, I don't even want to state it that way. I was about to say, where it's like, if a tournament organizer is trying to get listed on VLR and they're working with VLR staff on the VLR time frame to try and better their own tournaments, that's one thing. But I don't want people to see this and think, oh, we need to like go and like attack VLR now, not the TOs. That's not really the goal. It's just having transparency within a growing ecosystem is super important. But also, Zero, I want you to weigh in on this.
That's part of, like, the transparency part is part of where some people were having issues with, because I think there was a wording of, I think it was that they said that it wasn't, or there was never going to be events pre-covered, and so some people thought there was bias being given to those TOs. And yeah, if VLR just comes out and just gives the criteria on, okay, like Liquipedia, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and we'll look at your like tournament. Sure, that's great, and then you can lead into just having more tier 3 events, because at the end of the day, doesn't hurt to have these tier 3 events, but it is more work. And I mean, we've even seen like over in I think like the EMEA GC, there was like troubles with VLR updating those games as well. So it's not just an NA issue of VLR like saying they're going to do something or having a like not the best communication system. So hopefully that can be solved, but also I don't really think anyone needs to be like super up in arms. I think as long as, I mean, everyone acts like adults and just communicates effectively and tries to move forward with the best foot, I think we should be going in the right direction, because hopefully yeah, I don't know.
I will say this. It's important for everyone to remember, in the event that you don't already know, for North America, for VLR, I think there's a grand total of 2 people that cover all of North America.
What?
It's like, it's like,
damn,
it's literally like 2 people, and I'm pretty sure one of those people is also European, so they also do stuff for Europe. Like, there's like, from my knowledge, all of like tier 3 NA is literally one guy.
Zeke,
like,
right?
Yeah. Like,
which just makes it even hard. Like, it's just,
well,
yeah.
I was also gonna say that can lead into the idea of bias, when in reality it's just a matter of like, you need to just narrow it down.
Right. Which there's also something to be said there too, because like, for example, it's not one guy, it's 2 guys, because there's also hybrid. But
there you go.
There is something to be said about the fact that like, even within like the VLR admins and the people that work at VLR, like they'll say something and then they're just like wrong. Like for example, I remember one of the admins was like a regional collegiate event would never be covered on VLR, and then a couple months later, the Southern Esports Conference got their playoffs on VLR. So like, it's not really a thing in my mind of like you got to be one if you're VLR, either be transparent or be consistent. Because otherwise things like this happen, and then a bunch of TOs like word things incorrectly, because at the end of the day, this is Valorant and everyone has social issues, and then like now everyone is fighting and beefing on Twitter, all because we like gave a really quick, unhelpful admin response
and
in a
I
Discord
think
support VC.
and I think all this does, hopefully we can like move past this and grow as a community, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're all trying to build up Valorant at the tier 3 scene, like build it up from the grassroots for tier 2 as well. So we all have the same goal in mind. I don't think anyone's like wants one person to fail. And so I just, yeah.
That's not true. I want Ancient Angel to fail.
That's actually true. I also want
One
Ancient
thing.
Angel to fail. Anyways, quick little
Oh
note.
no!
Quick little note to players, because I want to get this out to all my players out there. I don't care if you're building for challengers. I don't care if you're trying to get picked up to a tier 2 team and you're trying to just pug it out for a little bit. To all of you, do the entire world a favor and stop caring about VLR.
Oh
just in general, because I promise you, you getting that extra, you getting that one match on VLR of you beating like a bunch of ascendants, no one cares. Like, stop worrying about your VLR stats in general.
Can I add to that?
I'm not gonna sit here and say, hold on. I'm not gonna sit here and say boycott VLR, but like there are also other stat sites. I know Rib went down, but there is still the Spike. And GC has been using the Spike forever because VLR like has refused to cover anything that isn't GC main circuit in NA. So don't sit here and act like VLR is the only reason you should compete for something. I understand the VLR stats are nice, and being able to go on VLR.gg and look up your name and see your performances as you going 3-14 on Clove on a game of Ascent is really important. But
I want to add something before you go off the deep end.
Yeah.
I want to add one thing.
Yeah.
If you don't want to listen to us, Roy Stronglegs, one of the, I would say, greater, like one of my favorite analysts to work with, but also really good, Valorant community member and a goated coach, literally said something, not the same, but something similar. Like, I would rather, if I had to choose between two players, I'd rather go with the player that I know or I can, like, someone vouches for, than the player that, like, is, if they're the same player, you'd rather go with the one that you know. And that might sound like biased because it kind of is. It's a lot of like who you know, because a lot of people already know what you know. So it's a matter of like, oh, they work well in a team environment and I can vouch for that. It's like having references for a job interview. Yeah, getting the education is good, but have some references.
Yeah. Knowing people is in fact a good thing.
Being social is a good thing.
That's crazy.
That's absolutely not true. Everyone,
that's the hottest take.
Don't talk to your teammates for the rest of the week. Just go and
solo.
Oh,
my bad.
Ego everyone.
Don't calm. It'll all be good.
Don't calm. Join a team that speaks a completely different language.
Yes, and then 2-0.
Wait, sorry, I had to like tune my mic back in. Are you talking about Verno now?
No, what? No.
Sorry,
I'm not talking about.
I'm talking about
Verno speaks Spanish. Oh, my bad.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
I think that's our cue. So, you know what? Great conversation we had about everything. I'm glad that I got to soapbox, really. That felt great.
Nice.
Sit there and just talk down and just be like, guys, stop.
I have this idea. I have this concept.
All the TOs are trying their best, and all the TOs need to stop fighting and stop being petty, because at the end of the day, everyone wants the same thing, which is to grow the Valorant scene. And if you don't want that and you just want money, shame. Because there is no money to be found here. This is Valorant.
Good luck.
Yeah.
So, to that end, stop caring, and to players, stop caring about VLR. It's not the end of the world because a tournament doesn't have VLR on it, and give these other tournament organizers a chance because they can only grow if you play in their tournaments, and we've seen that time and time again. So that's enough soapboxing. That's enough talking about challengers. That's enough of me yapping and just letting Zero and nerds sit there smiling at the camera, not knowing what to do.
Just nodding along.
Thank you so much for watching. This was the VNN, and we will be back next week for episode 3. I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but hopefully some cool news will pop up. The YFP lockdown results will come, so make sure to tune in.
Relegation results.
Relegation, yeah. So lots of big things coming up. So make sure to subscribe. Stay in touch with the Retake Production socials. Go follow us on Twitter. I don't think we have an Instagram or anything like that, but you know, maybe one day.
Twitter though.
But
and
anyways, bye.